This is Interpreting Wine host and founder Lawrence Francis welcoming you to a special series celebrating the beauty and diversity of Slovenian wine. These episodes, recorded in September 2019, let you virtually travel with me on a personal tour organized by Mojca from Enjoy Slovenia Travel and Wine. The episodes to be released in the order in which they were recorded will let the country unfold for you in the same way that it did for me. For more information about wine tourism in Slovenia, please visit enjoy-slovenia.com. Wines from the producers featured in the series can be ordered at fineslovenianwine.com. And finally, to be in with a chance of winning a case of wines from the series, do head to interpretingwine.com/fineslovenianwine. Today's episode of the Slovenia Travel and Wine Special features Žiga Ferlež of Renčel Boutique Wines. Leaving the Cejkotova Homestead Goče, it was a short drive to cross into the Karst region close to the Italian border. Here we were met by winemaker Joško Renčel and son-in-law Žiga Ferlež, who handled the interview on Joško's behalf. We first hear the origin story of the winery and get a virtual tour of the terroir in the region. We take a look inside the two cellars before tasting 5 wines, all with age, some with significant age, that perfectly shows the style and philosophy of Renčel Boutique Wines. Enjoy!
Welcome to our winery. My name is Žiga and I am son-in-law of Joško Renčel. He is the owner and the founder of Renčel Boutique Wines. I began working here in 2012, 7 years ago, nearly after I met his daughter, Monica. But the winery is much older. In late 80s, my father-in-law, like I say, Joško, started a new story. He left the job and he planted new vineyards to discover more. He decided also to do natural wines, more quality wines with much lower yields for about 1 kilo per plant, and so on. Nowadays we have a little bit more than 3 hectares of vines, so it's not so much, but we are looking just for quality, for around 1 bottle per 1 plant. What else? We are in the southwest part of the Slovenia, close to the border with Italy, just 5 kilometers. Special kind of soil is definitely one of the remarkables here. Terra Rosa, or red soil, full of iron, minerals, and this is one of the highlights of our terroir. Our vineyards are treated in ecological sensitive way, so they're spontaneously planted with grass, and this is so important because we want as much as possible organic matter in the ground. 2 major varieties like Vitovska Grganja and Terrano are here. We pay a lot of attention to other varieties like Pinot Noir, Sauvignon Blanc in the last 20 years. A lot of experiments, and I suggest to try some of them.
Okay, cool. And then I think obviously you will speak wine by wine, but I mean, is there an overall it's obviously an overall principle, but are there sort of overall steps or approaches that you kind of take to all of the wines here, or are they all prepared quite differently?
Definitely there's a big difference in our white wines. Our white wines are made with skin fermentation, so similar to red wines, and we call them orange wines or amber wines, however you want. The big difference is that these wines are made with skin fermentation, so we get much more body, extracted tannins, color, and aromas from the seeds, from the grape skin. and mostly this is the most important for us.
Okay.
We are famous also about our sweet wines or wines made with appassimento, dried grapes. This is one of the big highlights of this house, similar to style Amarone, but with our grape varieties.
So we've just left the first cellar and we're coming across to a second cellar here. And what are the different type of cellar? What's the sort of the types of wines that are here, and maybe the types of barrels that are here? What's going on?
The only difference is there are 500 liters barrels, so mostly red wines. We think it's better to leave it in the 500 liters oak and use barriques just for white wines to be more matured, more developed. And this cellar is mostly for red wines.
Do you know roughly the split between the production between, I guess, white/orange, red and sweet wines?
Nearly half-half. Definitely Terrano is the major variety, like 4,000 bottles yearly, and the other 7,000-8,000 are half white, half red. Some Cuvées, sweet wines. A lot of different experiments.
Yeah, and any sort of the experiments that's come into the range, something that's grown out of an experiment that became a...
Yes. For example, we are standing here. 2012 was the first year when I started to work here. Joško said me, take the berries of Chardonnay with botrytis out and we will try to do an experiment. And here is Chardonnay 2012 with botrytis. And we will see after 10 years what will happen. Looks good so far.
Mm-hmm.
Then some sweet wines like Negra, it's sweet wine of Terrano, 98, by the principle of Cellars, and so on.
Yeah. Okay. This is where all of the wines are aged.
Yes, they are stored here, and there is one more cellar up here.
It's actually beautiful. I think I'm not sure I've ever seen where you've got the barrels and the aging bottles right next to each other. But it's
similar to the Burgundy style. Joško fell in love with the Burgundy, and it's all the wines and the cellar in the Burgundy style. Also the floors. Here is the ground and soil, so a lot of humidity and everything like it need to be.
Sure. And of course it varies year to year, but what is the sort of range of production that you're looking at here?
How many bottles you're asking?
Yeah.
For about 10 to 12,000 bottles. Not so much, but we're looking just for quality, low yields. And it's our goal to be bigger in the future, but for now it's okay like this. And we just want to be in the best places with our wines and not to be mess. Yes, there's a barrel from 1912. The soldier was here during the battlefield, and they immediately need to go to the battlefield, and the barrel, they left the barrel here, so it's still there, more than 100 years. Not so good, but for a simple wine, it's okay.
Okay, so still using it to age wines.
Still using it to let the tourists see the story and our past.
It's like living history. I mean, I think it's I've seen many older barrels, and as you say, they start to, I guess, become more porous, or gaps open up and more air can get inside. But it's great to have that piece of history still going on and making wine.
It need to be some soul in the cellar, not just new barrels.
Yeah. So now we've had a little tour around the cellar, and we've got a sense of what's going on here. Yeah, let's, I guess, natural steps. Let's take us inside the glass, Žiga, and let us know what we're tasting and a little bit about the production.
Time for a better part of the work.
The best part.
The best part. So Terranum 2006, actually it's Terrano. Terrano, it's made from grape Refosco, which is indigenous in our region, but only in our region can be named Terrano because of the soil, red soil, Terra Rosa, and also it's protected by the region. So 2006 was really good year with a lot of sun in the last period of ripening. So we are able to do this kind of wine. Usually they say Terrano, it's wine for just one season, but here was really mature grape, and we leave them for 8 years in barrique barrels. So it's a really well developed wine.
Okay. And they're all the barrels are used. That would be.
Yes, used before many times. We don't want this oak aromas in the wine. We just need mature tannins and good structure. A lot of wild fruit aromas, wild blueberries and blackberries, for example. Nice acidity level, and this is the reason why perfectly pair with some prosciutto or pancetta, with some meat with a lot of fat content. It's 12.5% of alcohol, medium body, medium acidity. So even if it's 2006, it's a good wine to start with.
I'm a little bit speechless actually, because I think I'm a big fan. I think of winemakers that work in a way that other people tell them they can't. I'm a kind of admirer of that spirit. And then you just have to look to the glass and look to the wine, and it tells you that it's 06. It's still lovely, fresh. It's still vibrant. It still has amazing acidity. It feels like it's got years that it can sort of go on. This is not a wine that is, I think, passing its peak. It's probably in its peak now. It's got kind of restrained power, I want to say. I think it has over that time developed power and presence, but it's still quite light on the palate. It's still very drinkable, as you say. I think even with the prosciutto here, we're gonna get involved, but even just by itself, I think it's very pleasant, and as you say, a great way to start.
So Vitovska, the next one. Vitovska, it's indigenous grape variety in the Karst wine region, or Vitovska Gargania, like we say. I think this is the perfect example to show you what the orange wine is, or what the skin contact wine is. Special kind of wine with a lot of tropical fruit on the nose, especially mango and some passion fruit as well. On the palate, nice acidity, creamity, minerality, and everything well balanced together. Mineral because of soil, so you can notice lot of minerals, saltiness, and the perfect example of orange wine. It go well with equally bold food, flavored food, and one of the greatest Vitovska in our cellar 2015. We start to picking the grape in the end of September, so carefully selected grapes, and I think it's a good example of Vitovska.
And when you said you picked the grape, how long did it then spend in the barrel, and how long on the skins?
Yes, of course, we live for 20 days on the skins, for 2 more years in the barrel. During that time, malolactic fermentation was done completely. After this, for 1 more year in stainless steel container to clean it, because none of our wines are not filtrated, these ones also. And now is for nearly 1 year in a bottle. 2015 was so far the best vintage mine.
Okay.
So we are looking forward.
Yeah. You never know what the next year is, you know, and any year can be your next best vintage, you know. It's just got to keep trying.
Yes. We are in the middle of the harvest now, so we are, let's say, praying for the good vintage and for the lot of sun.
Well, and now, you know, you brought it up. I mean, are you able to, you know, given your experience, you're able to kind of start to put at least the fruit that's coming in now, you know, put it in kind of some kind of context? Is it you know, the amount and the quality? You know, how do they compare with previous years?
Well, so far it looks okay, but the next days will be the most important. We need a lot of sun for the ripening, and then we will see what we could make from this year. But so far looks okay. Pinot Noir, it's already in the cellar, looks good. Sauvignon will be tomorrow, and we will see. So far so good.
I gotta say, I love this balance between the sort of everything, really, the aromatic nature, the fruit, the sort of, a little bit more sort of towards the more complex and more sort of dried fruit characteristic, but acidity, you know, it's always, you know, you need that acidity there, but drawing back from the wine, and any wine really that you're going to enjoy, it's got to be balanced, you know. And this is really, I think this is really in a good place, and you see why it's, you know, your favorite so far.
Yes, we don't keep the compromises. If the year is not okay, we can't make a good wine, and this is really one of the best, well balanced, and this is what we are looking for. Sauvignon 2015. It's not just Sauvignon as usual, it's actually Sauvignon made with appassimento, so Sauvignon with dried grapes. We pick the grapes in the middle of September, and then we leave it in the baskets for nearly 10 days, similar to Amarone style. We get much more body, extracted aromas, flavors, and I think it's the perfect experiment of 2015. Maceration lasted 3 days, and then for 2 more years it was in barrique barrels, spontaneously fermented, malolactic fermentation as usual, and 1 more year in stainless steel container to clean it. On the nose, really pleasant aromas of dried elderflower, of blackcurrant, and on the palate, well, acidity, creamity, minerality, a lot of oily texture from the malolactic fermentation, 15.5% of alcohol, but they are not evident because there is really a high extract, and it's warm and perfect on the taste, I think.
Okay. Is this then, you say, pairing with kind of quite different type of food to this? Because I guess that's quite different flavor profiles, isn't it?
Yes, with more flavored food. I think it goes well with raw fish as well, some sushi. Mm-hmm. Maybe this one has a little bit too much alcohol for the sushi, but the other vintages goes perfectly with sushi. Actually, it's similar to sake, so it goes well with the raw fish. You can't feel the alcohol because there's really a full body of wine and acidity, and they're all well balanced, and perfect example of Sauvignon.
Yeah. That's actually what I was just thinking, was actually about the character of the grape, because at the end of the day, when you've got a single varietal, you know, it should express itself in the glass, and all of those characteristics that you were kind of talking about there led me to kind of think, you know, am I still going to recognize this as a Sauvignon? But it's unmistakably you know, a Sauvignon, but it's almost like everything has just been sort of turned up, just kind of in the right way. It's just been sort of amplified, I want to say, and intensified, really, and I guess that plays back to the the Amarone style, the drying and the just intensifying of the grapes, and that then absolutely is captured and carries through over the 4 years or so since this was harvested right through there into the glass. It's really intense, but without being overbearing. And as you say, I could never have guessed that this was 15.5%.
Yes, this is what I want to say. Yeah. And it's still made in the way of orange wine, so with skin fermentation just with days, but we keep all the aromas of the Sauvignon. But on the other side there is really nice body. There are a lot of people who said they drink this Sauvignon. It's the first time they drink yellow Sauvignon, because mostly it's just pressed, and this is totally different.
Yeah, I think it's just again another advert for experimentation. I think that's something that has come up a few times on the trip. Is just I think where you're in a place where you can experiment. You never know what's gonna come out, and this is an advert for experimentation in the right way.
This is the best part of this job, that we can experiment. We don't need to do everything the same every year, and we have free hands and we can do whatever we want. Zlate Suzice 2006, or Golden Tears, if I translate, sweet wine of Malvasia Passito. Oh, this is really a unique sweet wine made from carefully selected grapes of Malvasia. We have been drying it for nearly 5 months. After that we pressed it and leave in the barrel for 8 years. Really nice amber color with coppery highlights. On the nose, remarkable aromas of dried apricot, peach, honey, and the palate, mature figs, mature fruits with really nice acidity, which is the most important, and well balanced into the residual sugar, which is more than 200 grams per liter. This wine really good to pair with some Roquefort, with some blue cheese by the side, and it goes perfectly with wide spectrum of desserts like lemon pie or cheesecake, for example. This acidity is the most important. If the sweet wine don't have this acidity, it's Italian says stochevole. You can drink, you feel just sugar in the mouth, and this acidity is really mouth cleaning, mouth watering. And this is the most important, this acidity. So we pick the grapes as usual, and then we constantly check it during the drying and keep them healthy.
Yeah, I mean, again, really enjoying your descriptions, and again, spot on. And I think, again, in the same way that alcohol doesn't tell the tale always, you can't just buy on the alcohol. The same with sweet wines. If somebody just states the residual sugar, that doesn't give you the whole picture anyway. That doesn't tell you about the mouthfeel, the sort of viscosity of this. And it is 10%, but it's not sort of cloying, it doesn't sort of hang and cling onto your mouth and sort of feel that kind of gumming up of your mouth, which I can't stand. And as you say, that acidity just kind of brings everything together. You've still got a nice depth of flavor, nice concentration and complexity, and even with the 220 grams, which I must admit I'm sometimes guilty of reading 220 and no, that's going to be too sweet, that's going to be too much. Not at all here. No, not a word of it. It's super balanced. It's nicely a little bit chilled in the glass, and it's actually very drinkable. Yeah.
I think you understand perfectly what I want to tell you.
The wine is helping.
Yes, it is.
I think as well, maybe just to add something on. I've just realised with the label here, sitting here looking at me, it still tastes very young as well. It's an 06. It's had all that time in barrique, and it just tastes fresh, really, really fresh, vibrant, and not tired. Sometimes there's too much sugar, and the wines are all sort of out of balance with the sweet wines. It just doesn't taste fresh. It doesn't give you vitality. It kind of makes you want to fall asleep. But this is a vibrant wine. Yeah.
Yes, it's still full of life, alive, and matured enough to drink it. And this is the most important. Fruitness, freshness still, but so mature. So the last one, maybe the best one, you will tell. Cherry Oxy 2003. It's sweet wine of Terrano, 100% Terrano, single barrel Cellar. It was for 15 years in wood of cherry. So oxidated, because cherry wood take a lot of area inside, and it's kind of micro-oxidation. Really similar to cherry, sweet wine, Pedro Jimenez. In the mouth, really nice acidity, extracted acidity. This oxidation notes, the best wine for cigar.
Yeah, and I'm kind of putting off a bit at the moment of tasting it, but I'm also just really curious. Like, what was kind of the inspiration to experiment like that? I mean, is this a sort of a style that exists around the area, or was the inspiration more cherry in what they do with their Cellars?
It's the simple answer. We are artists, and we want to do something new every year, and this is one of the best experiments from this house.
The thing that I guess caught my eye first was the color, because obviously the whites and the oranges and the reds that we've had have been more sort of from the sort of, I guess, the classic palette. But yeah, you're right. This then does totally remind me of how Pedro Jimenez will look when it's in the glass. That much sort of deeper brown, but still with a sort of a certain amount of sort of translucency and still letting the light through. It's come from a red grape, so there's still red components there in the glass, and it's very interesting. It's I don't know again the exact composition, but it's taking me a little bit more towards like almost a kind of a cream sherry, like the ones that have actually potentially been mixed Pedro Jimenez and Oloroso, because you're absolutely right, because of what you've done here with the barrel. There's definitely a sort of oxygen has gotten in here, but you've got the sweetness. But then I think it's as you say, you've got the acidity here, which sometimes can be lacking in some of the sherries. It can certainly when you go to sort of the sweeter end of the spectrum, there's often it's just very, very sweet. But this is then keeps it very drinkable.
Yes, we used Terrano for this kind of sweet wine because Terrano really has a nice acidity, like we talked before. Mm-hmm. So even if it's 16 years old, it's still fresh, full of life, but the other hand, developed and really nice aromas and good wine.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yeah, I guess, thank you so much. I really enjoyed, spending the time here with you and, seeing the cellars and tasting the wine. It's been an absolute pleasure. And, I just, kind of classic interpreting wine style. I'll just sort of throw the door open and just, ask you to look forward. And, so what are the things that you're kind of, looking forward to on the horizon for your, for yourself here at Renčel? For yourself and the Renčel wine family.
I want to develop as well as the winery. So the main goal is definitely to keep this quality, forward, but on the other side to do some new experiments, to discover something new, to get involved into something new, and we are looking forward for new way of experiences. And one more thing for the listeners, keep white wines, rosé wines and red wines by the side for a while and start to explore orange wines.
A huge thanks once again to Žiga and Joško for your amazing hospitality. As close as we were to the Italian border, it's clear to me that these wines have a strong following there, especially as they pair so well with many types of local food. But no matter where in the world you're listening, I can highly recommend seeking out these wines. For more information about wine tourism in Slovenia, do please visit enjoy/slovenia.com. To order wines from the series, do be sure to visit findslovenianwine.com. And you can also email Mojca any questions you might have at info@enjoy/slovenia.com. And if you're not already, I would love to have you following along with me on social media, where I'm at Interpreting Wine on Instagram and Facebook, at Wine Podcast on Twitter, and email hello@interpretingwine.com. See you next time.